What we teach before using the lifts depends on whether it's a private or a group lesson, and a private lesson will do as much as that particular student needs. In a group lesson, where we'll be with that group several times throughout the season, we can do quite a bit of work on the flat areas before we start using the lift. However, if it's a large group that's in a student lesson where there's only an hour, we'll do just enough so that we save plenty of time for trying to learn how to stop and turn on the hill. When we start off, we'll start off walking. That can be just carrying our skis or on one ski or on both skis. If we're on both skis, let's make sure that the poles are being used behind the feet so that we can push and step rather than out in front of the feet where the students will like to use them. And then we're ready for some static exercises. We can try just taking some steps, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, and then some bigger steps where we're raising the knees up higher and then back to some really fast right, left, right, left, right, left. And we can try just bouncing up and down, feeling our chest right over our toes. We'll go down and touch our hands to our knees a couple of times, and then we can actually leap off the ground a little bit again the whole time, trying to feel like we have our chest right over our toes. We can try taking our feet and sliding them forward and backwards a little bit. And once we've got a sense of that, we'll try to go a little bit farther forward and backwards with each one of our legs, and then just some real small, quick ones, super fast, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we're ready to try to have them step around in a little bit of a circle, one direction first, and taking small steps so they're not stepping on the front or back of their skis. This can be quite a challenge for some kids, and they need to be able to do this so that when they get off the carpet or the rope, they can turn and get their skis downhill without stepping on the front or back of their skis. We can then have them lean forward so that they're just leaning into the front of their boots. They'll feel their legs pushing into the front of their ski boots, and we'll try to do that a couple times. It's kind of tough for kids to move those stiff boots, but this way they'll get used to bending their ankles and feeling their legs push into their boots. If that's a problem, we can try unbuckling the top buckle or maybe a little bit of the top and secondary buckle, because some of the boots are very stiff and don't allow the kids to move. Then we'll try stepping the back of the skis apart, front of the skis together. So this is how they'll slow down, and we'll tell them this is their wedge, or little kids like to look down and imagine that it's a slice of pizza. That's the words we'll use for them. And if they're having problems with this, we'll break it down a little bit and try just one leg at a time. Step out the back of one ski, bring it back, step it out, bring it back a couple times. Same thing on the other side, and then they can see if they can step into their wedge. Maybe they'll actually go ahead and try hopping in and out of a wedge, then pushing the back of the skis apart. As they're pushing the back of the skis apart, they're trying to think about pointing their big toes at each other. So it's push the heels out, point the big toes at each other. The wider they go, the slower they go. So it's just like pushing harder on the brakes. The wider the back of the skis go apart. The kids will oftentimes end up trying to drive their knees together rather than pushing their heels apart, so we can have them imagine just as they're pushing their heels out that they're trying to sit on a saddle, kind of as if they're sitting more on a horse rather than driving their knees together. We'll go ahead again and have them just going down and up, really feeling the chest right over their toes and feeling the weight up on their toes and getting them so that they're in a good centered position, and finally taking their hands and making sure that they have their hands out in front of them. They can imagine that they're holding a tray with their lunch on it, and with their hands in the right position, their chest right over their toes, they're in their good athletic stance. And if they play any kind of a sport, whether it's soccer or baseball, basketball, volleyball, tennis, this athletic position with their chest over their toes allows them to move forward, backwards, sideways, but as the farther back they start going, the harder it is to move as they get out of their athletic position. So they have a very hard time playing tennis or soccer back in a position leaning back like this, and the same thing happens in skiing. They can't ski well if they're leaning back. With their hands, sometimes they just want to take the hands and drive too far forward, bending over at the waist and driving back at the hips. And so we need to make sure that the hands are in the right position and not too far forward. Sometimes they'll take their hands and want to stick them straight out in front and keep them high. As they do that, they'll bend back at the waist, and now they're leaning back so their chest isn't over their toes and they're no longer in their good athletic position. They can do some straight runs over at Holly without having to sidestep, but if they're at Pine Knob, they'd first have to sidestep up here in this gentle part of the hill right next to the building. Sidestepping is very hard for many people to do, and it takes quite a bit of time and practice for them. And a lot of times they just can't keep those edges in the hill, so we can have them point their knees uphill so they can hold on to the side of the hill as they're trying to step their way up. But if that is something that they're having a tough time doing, we can just start off and walk diagonally at an angle so that they don't have to sidestep and they can get up the hill and be ready for their first straight run. As their first time down in the straight run, they get into their athletic stance, chest over their toes, feeling like they're standing on their toes, their hands out in front, and all they're doing is enjoying the sensation of sliding in their good athletic stance. They don't even have to worry about stopping their first time down. As the students come down, what we'll be trying to do is make sure that we're coaching right away and getting them so that they are in their good athletic position. This person has put their weight back on their heels, and so we'll need to be coaching them to get their hands up a little bit more and get their chest up over their toes and put the weight more forward up towards their toes. After they take one straight run, if that starts looking good, they can go ahead and do another one and work on the wedge. And now if the student is comfortable and feeling ready, we can go ahead and start using the Wonder Carpet.